Speak.
Hi.
Okay, now you're all working. Okay, quick fix on the fly. My microphone is working. Great! Woo! Jesus. Welcome everybody. Hey, we're going live. Madness of the Land. We did start a little later here. I had announced that we might start even later, but hey, we got all together now. Unfortunately, Tiv is still sick, so we're not going to have him join us again. And hopefully he'll be back next week and feeling better. So everybody wish him well. And I have to read
Mentally,
this.
physically, or spiritually?
Probably all three.
All three.
I mean, physically, he's spewing out of every orifice. So it's pretty dramatic.
It's just like, it's like blood from the eyes, like constantly, you know?
Okay, I didn't say, I was going the more like throw up route, not blood. Like, I'm not killing him. But okay.
Apparently, Tandis wants to kill him.
Yes.
I'm not wanting to kill him.
He is in DM mode. He wants to kill all of us.
Yes, yes, he's already established his DM dominance.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the tower.
Welcome to the tower. So, last week. Oh, okay, yes. I probably should introduce, hey everybody. Joining me as usual, Joe Madsen, Unfunnyone. Hey, say hi everybody.
My name's
Hi,
down
everybody.
Here now.
Yeah, the names are correct and the locations are correct. I know.
How dare you change my name?
You didn't have one? You had, every time you had been Nokrin?
Exactly. Aren't I Nokrin?
No.
Oh man, my name is obnoxiously long.
Zechariah.
Unfunny, honestly.
Yeah, I know. Yours is the hardest. I might still correct it because I can, just like down to like Zach or something. I don't know. Anyway, so let's just last week, the team dove into this land of grassland that they discovered. This strange grassland with large creatures that would graze there, like sauropod dinosaurs, and some kind of large creature that would hunt them. They used the primitive map they had gotten from the goblin to kind of navigate through the area from the unusual temple that they had emerged into this place from, a world much different than their own that they currently come from, and making, rather than answering questions, filling them with many more. The sun is at a different angle. It still doesn't move. It looks and feels more like maybe like they're thinking like a lot of different things. It's like, is this like, are we playthings of some kind of god? Are we in some kind of strange zoo? Where are we? What is this place? Many questions filled their minds and no answers came to them. They explored down though to the farthest southern tip where they had on the map something marked, some kind of location, and they discovered a ancient village, destroyed, mostly overgrown, and with a small dock next to it, next to the water that's here. Water which does not look like it goes off to the horizon. It almost looks like it ends at some place. And on the map that they found in this place, it looked like it did go to some kind of edge, at least as far as they have discovered. They learned a few things about the inhabitants of this place. Things that they've kind of distinguished that there was an elemental bloodline through this place. It was long since destroyed, and there did seem to be a split between the people here into a group of them that became nomads, which lived amongst the grasslands, and those that stayed here and eventually, well, seemingly died. From here, though, they decided that they would now add on to their list of things, checking in with the nomads. But before that, the tower. The tower seemed to be along the way, at least in the direction that they kind of decided to head, since now they had a more accurate territory map of the massive creature, which the important thing about that massive creature is you're not sure if it's just one creature, a family of creatures, one creature that lives for a very long time, a family of creatures, which you've only seen one, that there might be more than one, and it just seems like there's not many of them, so they do go generational, or what, you're not sure. But that thing was big and mean, and as big as those sauropod dinosaurs were, this thing used them for a plaything.
It's a Tarask, guys.
Can we send it to space?
No. How?
I don't know.
Magic.
That's the solution.
I think we want to send it to the moon.
Mhm. I mean, that is a one way to send anything. So if you find enough magic,
Well, I mean, I guess there isn't a moon at where we're at, so
We'll send it to the sun. Problem solved.
you mean the table light? It's just a light over the table that we're living on.
Yeah, hopefully, the heat of the bulb will, melt the plastic that made the thing,
The giant that lives there is just like, "Bzz, what was that?"
Okay, how about we just send it above the cliff face?
Yeah, I mean, just jump off the edge of the earth. That's the worst that can happen.
all right. So you will begin your journey north, and the journey north is, I wouldn't call it more difficult than what you had before. It's still the kind of slightly hilled grasslands that kind of roll on with the occasional tree spread out here and there. Kind of the, I think I said the type of trees you'd find in the African savanna. So kind of like wiry with the kind of like straight tom, and then kind of goes out a large canopy. And they are actually of decent size, the trees, when you can get to them. But it's also the thing that there are plenty of things that use that as shade in this place. You almost can head straight north from where you had been to go to this tower. But you begin to notice something unusual, because you also know, rather than before where you were kind of walking the edge of this place, rather now you're almost walking the edge of this thing's territory. You can see that there are plenty of creatures which break the boundaries. Probably things that don't have a sense of, it's just a big predator. They might get lucky. They might live there. They can exist along in its territory. But for you, there's just this, a danger sense. Like something, because you're so small in comparison to it. Of course,
All right.
you now do encounter herds, massive herd of those reptilian creatures, which none of you really could identify as sauropod dinosaurs, but that's what they are. You count that maybe there's 100 individuals in this herd, as it's kind of passing along your path.
Are there all age ranges?
Yes.
Are there the old there? Like the very old, looking like they're, towards the end of their life?
And there's some younger, smaller ones, some juveniles,
So Zach will point out, with this worry of being on this territory, to Chance, since Chance is our wilderness guy. Chance, I'm worried this creature might smell us. We're gonna be different than the animals that are around here. I'm wondering if maybe we should try to cover our scent. Maybe if we can find an old aging lizard, whatever these things are, and we can use it like its skin or something to cover us so that it masks our scent. Do you think that would work?
If we're worried about a predator, these seem to be herbivores, which would be its prey.
You do see that they seem to move their large necks down and kind of graze on the grasses, which it seems a little awkward, but it also seems like they, some of them seek out the trees to graze on a little bit of the trees and stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend spelling like its normal prey.
Well, I'm just trying to think of something to cover our differentness. What if it's inquisitive creature? And it comes
Yes,
to check
but
out what the new smell is.
The problem is its smell of something familiar that it normally eats would probably attract it, definitely. The smell of something different might not attract it at all.
I'm gonna look around. Are there any of these, I'm assuming, massive dung piles around us?
You could probably find some. If you go along the path, if you wait for them to pass and go that area, you could probably find them. I mean, I will tell you, for are, in the audience's sake, they're like brachiosaur type sauropods.
Okay.
I think we're small and insignificant enough that something that would eat things this size probably wouldn't try to bother us that much.
Okay. All right. If you say so, you're the expert.
Plus, the wind blows around here so hard, I don't know how well of a scent we'd produce for it.
It's true. How is the weather right now?
Pretty clear right now. Like there's a light wind. Probably over the past like couple of hours, you've got like little spurts of water. But you've noticed that this place has a very active, weather system kind of going across it. So now it's pretty light weather. Very few times do you have like large stretches of time where it's completely clear of anything. Like no wind, no rain, no nothing.
Okay. I mean, if you're worried about scent, the best I would say is during the next rain, after it, cover yourself in mud. That's more of a neutral.
That would only work if we all do it, I think.
Yes. Right? Well, yes, but that's more of a neutral scent and it wouldn't necessarily attract. If we cover ourselves in feces, that's a strong scent. If we cover ourselves in scent of its prey, that would attract it. The only thing, if you really want to cover scent, I would suggest would be the mud.
You think we would actually have to cover ourselves, or could we just carry like a bag of it or something? Like carry a bulk amount?
I don't think.
I'm not used to being out.
If you want to truly cover a scent, it'd be better to basically cover ourselves.
He sides eyes Signe, not knowing what her reaction is to this conversation.
She is 100% not paying attention to you two.
Oh, I guess it's something that we'll have to talk about.
Signe, you can, as you're kind of watching, you can see that the herd of creatures is actually quite majestic. It's so interesting that they seem to be almost following some kind of trail that close up you couldn't really notice, but like at this distance you can see the movements that they have. They may even have like an area that they walk around. You can also notice that their necks don't seem to reach down quite as much when they like go to graze. And you begin to realize there's a reason why the grass here is shorter than some of the grass you saw in the valley. There are much larger things kind of eating it, keeping it down.
They're natural lawnmowers.
Yes.
Kind of like sheep.
Yeah. This is incredibly fast-growing grass that seems to be what's keeping things this big alive. And because maybe
I'm assuming they rip up some of the grass too, right? There's like chunks of grass that's been ripped up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like a grass, so it regrows very quickly into those spots. Yeah. And they also like manage to chew off like large sections of when it gets very tall and things. So, yes, they are natural lawnmowers to this entire area.
I love them.
Probably that big creature keeps their population in check and basically, ensures that there's a balance between everything.
Nature finds a balance.
Yeah. So after you have your discussion for a while, I'm assuming you're going to head on and continue your journey?
Yes.
Yeah.
You'll easily pass by, as the herd passes by and moves off in the distance, you can easily continue by them. A day will go by, and please, everybody give me perception.
No.
Well, that's fine, you don't have to roll it. You could be imperceptive.
You say no, and you roll probably the best.
Yeah, no.
And you roll the best.
You do.
I'm just like in denial. I'm looking around like, oh, I see something. No, I don't.
So, Zach, as you're kind of like heading straight for this tower, you begin to kind of crest over a kind of group of smaller hills, like kind of like that are clustered together. So you're kind of like going up and down a lot on your kind of journeys. And you begin to notice something far off in the distance to your west. Like something else is there paralleling you.
Like moving parallel with us?
Yes. You see like bits of movement between the hills, and it's something large. Now, granted, you've seen other large things here, so you're not sure how large it is. But, you know, there's something that... This is, like, miles away, though. You know, you've noticed it quite a far distance away, and it's only because of, like, when you bob to the top of one of these hills, you see something for a second. And the first time you see it, you're like, I don't know what that was, but you kind of keep your eye out in that direction. And then you go over another hill, and you see it again.
And is it staying at pace with us?
It does seem to be staying at pace with you.
And are we still in the grasslands? Like,
Yes.
is it still grass everywhere?
Yeah. And it's just like,
I'm
there's a little
gonna-
more, like, as I said, there's like some rolling hills here and there, and this is like a little bit more small clustered hills.
Alright, I'm gonna like just slow down a little bit. I'm gonna just whisper to like my comrades. Something is moving to our left, pretty far away, but it seems to be matching pace with us and moving parallel with us. I don't know, but we could probably hide in the grass and see if we can lose it. If you guys want, what do you guys think?
Do you want me to send Fafnir to see exactly what it is?
Yeah, it might be good. I can't get a great view of it, but this creature looks massive. It's very far away.
I mean, I can get him as close as possible. Alright. Poke me if something attacks us. I'm gonna send Fafnir as far as I can towards this thing without alerting it.
Okay.
I'm gonna take my hand.
Please
and put 'em
roll
on her
stealth,
shoulder.
Fafnir.
Faffy!
I'm just gonna. We're gonna keep walking, but I'm just gonna have my hands on her shoulders
Mhm.
so that I can guide her.
Ah, great! Faffy!
Okay,
Maybe the DC's lower because he's in the sky.
And he's small. So I mean,
He's a tiny dragon.
yes.
Literally.
Give me a second here just to see something. I just want to check something here. Just to... Oh, okay. Alright. As Fafnir gets closer, he can see that there's definitely something over there, and it stops moving as he begins to approach it, that direction.
Well, I'm going to at least say, because even though I can't hear them, I can still speak. It stopped moving as he got closer. One tap, keep going. 2 taps, turn back.
What do you think, Chance?
Wish we knew how close it was.
Zach only estimated it was miles away.
Well, no, I meant how close Fafnir was
Yeah,
to
that's
it.
true. Fafnir's been traveling for a little bit of time, but not like...
I guess keep going a little bit more.
I don't want the dragon to be put in harm's way, though. I don't know what magics she uses to keep her bond with it. It might hurt her if something happens to it.
I don't want to see anything happen to the creature either, but
Okay. You said 1 to keep going?
Yes.
I'll tap her once.
Okay, I sent Fafnir a little further.
Please give me perception.
Perception, Faffy.
Yep.
I know, I'm like speaking to him, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Fafnir begins to kind of move farther up, like higher up. So it's got quite a distance now in the sky, almost to get like a bird's eye view. It's sort of like when you had seen before how high the griffins seemed to go. You almost had a confidence that you could go a little higher than you would have in the normal valley. Something that is unusual at this point in time, because you're not even sure like how high the griffins can go, but they definitely went much higher. And Fafnir takes advantage of this, which he gets a bird's eye view of a unusual and incredibly massive sized creature. When you first look at it, it looks to be a cross between a monitor lizard, a wolf, and a lion. It has this kind of brownish skin over lots of its body, with an auburn hair that seems to cover parts of its body, giving it kind of a shaggy mane, and with, like, at the joints and on its feet of its legs. It is a massive, almost club-like structure at the end of a tail, and there are two large spines that seem to stretch out probably dozens of feet tall above its shoulders.
Creepy.
The thing
I relate this to the group.
The thing kind of like turns its head up towards Fafnir.
I'd tell Fafnir to turn back now that we at least have a description.
A noise echoes throughout the entire area that seems to be something akin to both a wolf's howl and the roar of a lion at the same time. Something quite inhuman. And after that, lightning begins to strike all around, and a raging storm occurs. Fafnir, please give me, I guess, something for flying. Give me a dexterity save, please. It's very windy.
And it's very small.
Yes.
No. Oh, of course, it's taking forever to load again.
Yep.
And it went through.
And it went through, and your small dragon is blown off course, driven to the ground somewhere, with a tumble.
Is he at least alive?
Yes. He's at least alive.
Okay, well, he knows how to make his way back to me,
Mm-hmm.
at the very least.
Kind of like glancing back towards it, you can see the creature, like, kind of as Fafnir kind of like crawls, cresting a hill, as it once again leaves out that kind of strange howl. As you can also see lightning bolts hitting into those spines and channeling into this creature's body, as it seems to be almost drawing the lightning to it. It is probably about an hour before Fafnir gets back to you. Tired, wet, not feeling great, and probably, like, disturbed.
I'm literally picking him up and holding him in my arms for a while. That's not great. But yes, I did relay all of this description to the group.
Sure.
Well, that sounds bad. Something that can control the weather?
And absorb lightning.
Oh, I mean...
Signe,
is that...
you're pretty sure, just from the size of this thing, this might have been the thing you saw earlier. The thing that you basically are shadowing the territory of.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was afraid of.
All right.
No bueno.
Yeah. Great, y'all.
Yeah, this is bad. All right. I say we get down. I'll ask the earth to aid us, and we can try to at least lose it a little bit. Temporary. I mean, it's miles away though. How is it following us? How is it perception
Well,
good?
we're also shadowing its territory. It might just
Deep
have been
control.
happenstance, and
It
when
stopped when we stopped.
it stopped when Fafnir got close to it.
Okay, then I say we should stop. I say we stop and see if it passes. I wouldn't want that. I don't want that thing to be right next to us. If we get into a fight, we might attract its attention. If it's just parallel to us like that, but it's so far away.
I don't know. I don't like being out in the open with this thing roaming. If we can get to the tower quickly and get inside, at least we'll be out of its grasp
How far
for the
away are we
moment.
from the tower? Days, right?
You probably are about a couple days away at this point in time.
Yeah.
Granted, no, this is probably the closest your journey takes you to its territory. When you look at the map, because you were heading pretty straight north, it looks as though you will get farther from the edge of the territory if you are heading straight for the tower, which you are, guys are. You're like within a couple of miles of it at this location, and it might go to maybe at most like half a day's journey to the edge of it at farthest. It's hard to judge because, again, you're not sure how perfect the drawings of the border is, but it does seem that it definitely hasn't gone past a certain point.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing.
Which, I mean, like, Chance could probably tell you something that is highly territorial will probably stay within its territory for whatever reason, and they're not that it couldn't break its territorial boundaries, it would just need a good reason to do it. Either very hungry, or perceiving something that seems like a threat that might pierce its territory.
Yeah, if we keep moving away from it, it shouldn't follow.
Okay, let's just keep moving forward. Are you guys okay with trying to maybe do a faster pace? You guys think you can keep up?
I can do whatever's necessary.
I'll try my best.
I say we do a faster pace just to, just for the half a day to get further away from its territory. And then we could slow down again. And I look at Percy.
He'll be like, yeah, okay, I can keep up.
Alright. So, yeah. Keep trudging forward, but this time go at a pushed pace.
Alright. You definitely can feel the speed up. It is not necessarily easy to keep a brisk pace, but you guys push yourself forward and continue your journey. It's at this point in time impossible to tell where it is. I mean, like, you have to deal with the raging storm that it seemingly created for most of a day, kind of plaguing you. And you no longer hear that sound it made, but there are times that you hear what sounds like thunder, but maybe it's not thunder. It's that kind of like nagging suspicion that maybe there's something out there, maybe it's not. But as you head into the next day, things have quieted down and things seem safe once again.
Yeah, I'm only gonna suggest that we push for the remainder of the day to get just away from that closeness to its territory.
Yes.
And then we can go back to a regular pace.
Yeah, it's fine. You can resume the regular pace, and things seem to, as I said, quiet down. The remainder of your trip goes on for a few more days. It ends up being, because you were slowed down, though, even with your brisk pace, the weather still slowed you. So it's almost as if you weren't going at a brisk pace at all. It's just sort of like you were fighting the weather for an entire day. And it was...
We made as much progress as we would have if there was no weather.
Yes. And it was exhausting, too.
Yeah.
But you managed to push forward, and you managed to get through it, and after a few more days, you begin to see like the tower getting close. You'd always seen the tower from afar just because it seems to be the highest thing out here beyond the mountains, who are maybe like so far in the distance it would take you maybe like a week to walk from one side to the other of this entire place going straight. The building itself seems maybe, you're not even sure how tall as you first start seeing it, but as you're beginning to get closer, it's got to be well over 100 feet tall. Something that is almost insane to what you folks know from towers and buildings. This is much taller than anything you've ever seen. Probably at most even, Zach, you who were in a major city may have seen something that was maybe even half this height at most in parts of the castle. Maybe a tower that stretched up like 2/3 of it, something that was like maybe like 60 or 70 feet tall, but this is well over 100.
And how close are we now to it?
Probably in a couple of hours from it at this point in time.
Okay. Does it look like there's any activity in it? Like any lights on, any windows, anything like?
The building seems...
From this distance?
No, the building seems silent and quiet from this distance.
Alright, so as we're walking forward, Zach will just look at the tower and look at the, look over and chant.
You notice, as you're kind of like looking it over, you notice no windows in this place.
Like a solid, okay.
Yes. It is a circular tower. Oh, I'm sorry, no, it's a square tower. I'm sorry, square tower. For a second, I was changing my mind. My map corrected my brain there. Sorry. So it's a square tower, so something that akin to like a guard tower, except on a much larger scale, with the height. And it definitely is probably as wide as some of the large manors in the castle. So it takes up quite a large space on each floor. Or it's maybe just one floor in the bottom and a massive staircase that goes all the way top. You have no idea at this point in time.
Alright, so looking at this building, can I get an idea as if this thing looks like it is for battle? Like it's defensible? Or if it's for like, this is a guy's like mansion kind of thing?
You don't see any signs of like it having battlement. No obvious signs. There could be like hidden windows and doors or something like in the walls that maybe you don't see that would make it for the battlement. But at this distance, like a couple hours away, hard to tell.
Right.
You're not really
so
like.
As we're approaching, Zach will look over at Chance and Signe and he'll just say, "All right, we need to start thinking about ideas and how to approach this building." I don't see any, at this distance, I don't see any windows. It doesn't have any battlements that I can tell of just yet. So I'm starting to think wizard. Wizards usually don't worry about things like that. They usually have other defenses. I looked at Signe, and if you can, while we approach, if you can think of any ideas as precautions against magic, I'd be appreciative. And Chance, please keep your eye out. You have pretty good eyes. Hopefully this guy doesn't have a moat or grounds that are protected by animals that we haven't paid notice just yet.
Okay. You will approach the tower, and the side of the tower you're approaching from has no entrance on it. So the south side has no entrance. Again, you see no windows leading up, and it goes up. You're not sure how many floors. But it goes way up, and you did see there seemed to be almost like it goes up almost straight up towards the top, and at the top there was a smaller building, like a last floor or maybe like a room at the very top.
Is there anything that seems like there's anything around the tower? Trees, rocks?
Around the tower is pretty flat and pretty open.
Okay.
The grass is still kind of low there,
right.
And you do see that there are still some animals in the area, so it's not like it hasn't had things around the area, but nothing large currently, at least. All seems like small, below grass creatures that kind of keep out of sight, that you kind of disturb here and there.
What about the walls themselves? Is it like almost smooth stone? Is it rough stone?
It's fairly smooth, but has some carvings in it that have like very elaborate looks, especially at the corners. It's still pretty smooth, and even with the elaborate carvings, if you were just trying to scale it, it would probably be very difficult. In the center, in between there, it does look like it is layered bricks, but the layering is quite well done, and you see no, like, it's like a smooth wall of layering with, like, the masonry filling in the gaps nearly perfectly. So it's, like, it's incredibly well made, too. And it seems to go the same way all the way up. So it seems
and
like...
it doesn't seem that there's, like, wear or anything from the storms.
It almost looks as though there's a little bit, but not a whole lot. You're not sure what this means, if this means that it's just really tough, if it means that it's relatively new to the winds and stuff. You're not sure.
Sydney.
Or it could mean it's kept up very well.
That's true.
Yeah. Sydney, you're the magic person in our group. Do those markings, do those engravings have any meaning on it, on the walls?
I'm the closest thing to a magic person in this group. I can look. Do they?
Roll me Arcana.
While she's doing that and looking at them, I'm gonna take Percy like 50 feet away,
Mm-hmm.
and then like get him to hide in the grass, and
Okay.
I'll give him the map, and I'll tell him
I'm
if
looking
he die.
around too, just for the heck of it.
Okay.
Good. Nope.
Yeah, Chance, you have no idea. But Signe, the thing is, you take a look at it, and it's no kind of, like, arcane symbolism that you necessarily recognize, but you can't rule it out, you just can't confirm it either, is the kind of where you're at. If it would be arcane, it's a different type than you have encountered, and that you have familiarity with, definitely. And the thing is, you also don't see any, like, active signs of any kind of magic. So if it would be magic, it would be on the structure itself. There's definitely some things you could think of that someone would want to put on a structure. Reinforcements with magic, prevention of things like teleportation or scrying. It's impossible to tell without proper use of something like a detect magic might be able to do it.
Which I don't have.
If you want, I can scout the outer edge, see if there is any openings on any of the sides.
Yeah, we can do that, but as of now, I think our best approach would be hospitality. We'll look for a door and just knock on it.
Okay.
We don't want to anger anybody that would own such a fabulous building. I've never seen a building this large. Yeah. But Chance, if you want to look before I mean, I won't knock. I'm gonna go look for a door, and I'll wait for you if you want to check it out.
Why don't you go one side? I'll take the other. We'll meet around on the other.
So who's heading towards the west to go around the building? Who's heading towards the east? Basically, who's going left? Who's going right?
I'll go right because I am a noble. Because I'm
Alright.
right.
All right. So, Chance, you will find on the western side of the building is a door. It is a double door. It is a fine wooden door with some iron reinforcements to it. If you can finish going around just to see if there's anything else,
Yeah.
you will find nothing. The same can be said with Zach. Your side, it seems to repeat what you everything on the wall. That was exactly the same as what you came in.
I don't see anything, Chance.
There's a door over here.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
This
That's
way.
pretty obvious.
Well, no, I met you on the opposite side of the building, so I'm like, this
Oh,
way.
All right. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Great. I'm gonna tidy up as best as I can. My clothes are probably all like tattered. Tattered.
I am
Probably
fighting the
fine.
urge, just like grab some mud and.
I mean, I'm not like it's not like I'm clean. It's been
I
raining,
know, but
since
just make
then.
it, just like smush it in your hair.
Okay, now my hair you don't fuck with. No, I'll walk up to the door and I'll look at Sydney and Chance and go, ready?
As will ever be.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my one hand to my side where my crossbow is, just resting on my hip.
Alright. I'll make sure they're standing like 10 feet back in case some shit happens.
Mhm.
And then I'll knock on the door.
Knock, knock, knock. We'll head to break.
Of course.
I was gonna make the joke of knock, 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 Ren.
Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. We'll find out what happens to the knocking door when we return. If you need it, give her a drink, get a snack, or if you need to use it, use the restroom. And we'll be back in a few minutes. So see you in a second, folks.